Alright, folks, we are on. We are super duper on. Also, I thought. I've got 2 games already on the agenda. Both of them are absolute bangers. So let's hope that this is gonna work out really nicely for us. That's me, boy. Thank you, thank you. Right, Ed. How are you going, man? How are you going, you beauty? You beaut. How's it going? Scan on, as we like to say it in Australian. Alright, let's go. We're going to kick off with a couple of games just to build some audience, and then we'll take it from there. You have a quite long request. Well, I can promise you nothing, but I'm gonna keep it. So fire away your request and we'll see. I'm going to play... Oh, I'm on my main account. Okay, then it's going to be Bullet, unfortunately. We are going to analyze games played by the most disputed world champion ever. Scoozy! Hey! I feel like there is a game analysis incoming here. Oh! That's a pity, Scoozy. That is a great pity, my friend, but thank you very much for the generosity. You, as you know, are always greatly appreciated, man. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know what these moves are all about, to be honest. This rook c8, a6, Shimazoli. Okay, I can play more pass moves than you do. And now we pull the trigger. That's the trigger pulled. King h2, triple exclam. And now the struggle begins for black. Bishop b5. Oh, I don't think so, brother. Let's break here too. g4. Oh, queen there. That's annoying because they are hitting this pawn. Did I just trap the queen? Almost. e6 takes looks already very dicey. And I'm gonna lose this game on time. Isn't that gloriously beautiful? When you think you have a winning idea, in fact you know you have a winning idea, and you're going to lose the game. Oh, what? Because of time issues? That is so sad, isn't it? Yeah, I told you that that was going to end sadly. Yeah, it's early in the morning and I am not capable of playing chess moves without spending 10 seconds on them. So that's a crap night now. Excuse the French. A bad night is what I meant. G4 might come. Let's go a6, b5. Oh. Wait, c2 is hanging. Maybe bishop b5 was a better way to deal with this, but okay. Let's go back here. Bishop f5 was met by rook f5. That was a neat tactic there that I didn't want to fall into. Now we can start... Oh, this check is annoying. Damn it. Okay, that is very annoying too. Hopefully we're not dying to some stupid second and rook f6 and stuff. Oh, that was mouse slip. Mouse slipperino. Oh god. Okay, this is not going good so far. Your brain is not giving the effort. Okay, I will have to read that again, but if you're telling me that your brain is too lazy, I mean, dude, you don't need a chess coach, you need a psychologist, right? Father's Day? That's not Father's Day on this side of the continent, or the planet rather, I should say. But, yeah, we are golden, man, thank you. We are doing great. That was dumb. Oh, and that was super dumb. They should have played knight f3 there. That was a mouse slip. I wanted to go here. This is top quality bullet, like Danya level, guys. This is what you would observe. Bishop b3 was a good move there. This is Danya level bulleting. Or Hikaru, or whoever is your god bullet god that you worship. I could have taken, but that would have suggested that I'm calculating. Okay, let's go after this, and then take e2, and then get my queen trapped, yeah? Bishop here, queen takes rook here, and we're done. Smart. Now, this game, if we don't win this, yeah, I will be upset. I think. And usually when I say that, I tend not to win games, so... Ooh, this was not pleasant. Now I've got a lot of loose pieces and that didn't make any headway, so I'm scared. Oh yeah, okay, so we're definitely not winning this game. Oh, and I'm down on the clock by 5 hours too. That's brilliant. We did not win this. Okay. I'm gonna play until I win one, and then we stop, because we are quitters. And we quit on the top. I always wondered about this b4 knight d5 thing and who it favored. Let's take this. And I could go g5 here actually to mess with his development. Knight a... Yeah, I like this move. Let's go. Then I can also go here. Now he wants knight a4, but I cannot. Maybe knight d4 straight up was better. f6. Hello. Okay. Man, this is not looking good. Oh wait, this is when chess is chessing, right? This is when chess is finally chessing. This is what it looks like when chess is chessing. You're beating the dude on the board, on the clock, everywhere. Woof! Alright, let me read questions. My brain is getting too lazy to calculate or give effort or even work, and now I am so upset on how much I wasted time, and this disaster had been for more than 5 months. I don't know what was wrong. I lost all confidence. In addition, I raised 100 feeder rating points in classical and blitz, but you can say it's the payoff of the last. Well, get back to work, buddy. Chess is constant work. Welcome Axel Plate from the Netherlands. Welcome Brazy. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to begin our lecture for today, which is going to be revolving around the masterful games of a former world champion whose title has been debated the most. But we don't care about that. We are here to appreciate his chess. And we are going to start off with a very quirky game. It's going to be quite a challenge to follow the ins and outs. Nah, it's even more debated than Rustam actually, but you are very much on the right track. Very much on the right track. That was actually a clean win. That was actually a clean win. Alright, so we are going to start off with the Benku. And we're going to look at the f3 variation, which is an idea for white that they don't care about the pawn, but they want to play e4 ASAP. And e6 is a very clever counterpunch against this idea. A hack from Brazil waiting to see the English. Yeah, that might come too. Nah, Topalov, yeah.
Oops, I subbed.
Oh, Vindictive in the house. Hello. Young man, you are at the right spot if you want to see some epic chess. E4, ED. What do you think White's most logical move here is? Or I should say most challenging. What is White cooking here? E5, exactly. So you always have to reckon with the push past instead of the gut reaction, knee-jerk like retake. This causes usually a far more headache. Far more headache for black. Yeah. Dandaro, welcome in, buddy. Hey, hey, hey. Our protagonist plays Queen E7, and of course, the response is Queen E2. Now we awkwardly have to come back to G8, and this is why I told you that this game is going to be a quirky one, because both sides are losing very clearly, right? Like, if you look at this as an opening, after 8 moves, we have played nothing but pawn moves, and a queen move each. That's what it looks like, right? Yeah, I meant the appearance. It looks like pawn moves and a queen move each. I know that there was a knight move, but that doesn't seem to be relevant. Right, so White played knight c3. How do we respond? Well, this is the big debate indeed. Are these pawns strong, or are these pawns actually targets? D4, you have to reckon with knight d5. That's a dangerous path. Yeah, 100%. It's time to develop, guys. Sveterkev, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you, man. Thanks. Bishop e7, absolutely only the move. We want to hang on to these boys and begin development. White thought, okay, I can develop too. Now, Black's next move is the one that is gonna make you feel really weird about what you understand about chess and what you don't. What do we do with black here? No, not quite a5, Jazz. You actually like this tension for black, so you wouldn't want to get rid of it that. D4 is interesting, but I'm a bit worried about the consequences of knight e4, queen e5, bishop f4, and then, yeah, it looks to me like all hell is breaking loose. You don't need king d8 to play d6, buddy. You can go d6 right away, take trade queen, and then take back. I think the reason why d6 wasn't played is bishop g5, if I have to guess. And it looks like white's developing very fast. So in order to determine black's move here, you need to constantly come up with ideas for white against your candidate moves. It's almost like a process of elimination. I don't like d4 because I find knight e4 takes and bishop f4 almost winning by force, actually. Yeah, it is, because after queen e6, knight g5, queen e7, knight d6, we lose a piece. I dislike d6 because of bishop g5, but I'm wrong here because it's queen takes. So what's wrong with d6? Oh, it's knight f4. Right, that is cool. And so now we are running out. And Everton Vieira is my man who recommends c4. Now this is absolutely crazy that this is the only move for black on the board. Only move. c4. And shockingly, the idea is to play queen c5 to regain the pawn, or to force white to develop our knight, and also facilitate the development of the kingside pieces. This is absolutely insane that this works. Queen h4 check is met by g3, so we can't do that. So, bishop e3 played. That obviously hinders our plan of playing queen c5, but now we can play take b5, because upon recapture we would have the check. And it's quite amazing how quickly, by the way, preferences tend to swing here. So when we looked at this, we struggled to find a move for black, right? Like everything was losing. We tried d4, it lost, d6 lost, queen h4 lost, everything lost. Now you look at, for example, a line here with ab, knight b, wasn't played, check, knight back, and let's say bishop c5 followed by knight e7, and I think it's pretty clear that every one of you in the chat would prefer this with black. Right? Like now we go like, hello, what's there not to love? Which is why I'm saying that this game is insane in that there is it's so nuanced, and yeah, just one move can completely tilt the balance. Okay, so let's see what happened. c4. And by the way, this c4 move is one of the most common idea in my most recent chessable course, which was on the Blumenfeld counter gambit. Like, this idea occurs very frequently in the Blumenfeld. Sorry, I'm struggling a bit. Take d5, and in certain lines the c4 push here is incredibly strong. It creates a very, very tough bind on white's position quite frequently. Just saying that idea is very common there. Right, let's go. So take castles. So again, note the intentions. White he goes, if I take back, Then after queen b4, check, and bishop c5, black gets rapid development. So white goes, no, I want rapid development. And now it's indeed, king is castled, 3 minors are out. It's only the bishop here that is a problem. Which e5 line are you talking about, Vindictive? Now b4 loses to knight d5. Or maybe even potentially to knight b5. But I would take. I would take, and if... Well, this doesn't look feasible at all. Take, and look at this. And now white turned out to be correct. It's their development that decides the game. It's over. So we go back. And this is perhaps the hardest move of the game for black. Who cares about a2 hanging? It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Like, this is not something that you care about when... Yeah, like, a2 hanging or not, when you have got this, no one cares. It's over. This is a tough one, because here we are losing d5 or b5 100%, and it looks like that as a result of that, we are going to fall behind in development too. But our protagonist finds the best move again. You mean rook a3 here? Strong attack. Let me answer that without even answering it. You cannot hope for a strong attack when you have got one piece developed. Whoa! Ben and Karen raiding the party. Ladies and gentlemen, massive shout out to Ben. Please make sure you check him out, but everyone knows Ben and everyone follows Ben, so that might be a moot comment. Thank you so much for the raid. I am pretty sure that Ben is recognizing this position. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are analyzing chess games and we are trying to learn how to become better players. So that's what's cooking here. Thank you again for the raid. Much appreciated. Whoa, Rengao here.
What up, Andres?
It is definitely not Guess the Elu. That is not something I do too often. It is the Let's Get Better at Chess session, which is what I do very, very often. So if you have the time and the desire to learn chess, stay tuned and you will leave this session a better player than you were before you started. Thank you. So, once again, we need to be super careful here with black because this looks tragic. And again, the same idea was utilized by black that we discussed earlier with queen c5. He played queen b4 in order to facilitate the development of the king side pieces, but also the queen is a bit pesky on the queen side. So if you look at the previous line, now you can see that the combined presence of rook and queen is actually decisive. Now we do have a super dangerous attack. Rengao, this is Bogdan Lalic against Alexander Halifman. Oh wait, my chatbot is not on. Hello, what? Why did my command not go through? Okay, I need to reboot the chatbot. Give me a sec. By the way, guys, I'm streaming currently on YouTube too, so if you are a follower, I would like to encourage you to check out my YouTube channel and potentially chuck a sub there too. No, it's definitely not Guess the Elu. Yeah, nah. That, like I said, that is something that I do almost never. YouTube is the command bishop starts, but yeah, I'm going to just activate the bot. Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, so yeah, now the attack is deadly. And so after queen b4, white has to be careful. They can't take on d5 yet, but knight f4. And I still optically, I still prefer white here because there is a lot better cooperation amongst the white pieces than the black ones that are still completely stationary at home. Black played knight e7, protecting the d5 pawn. By the way, it's hilarious that according to the engine, the position is dab 0. Dab 0. And since you guys are from Ben's stream, I must tell you that the best move for white here, of course, is rook takes d5. Because, as per the Benjamin Feingold rule, always... Who is gonna type it first? Come on, chat. Don't leave me hanging. Sack the exchange. Exactly. Thank you. Always sack the exchange. That's how chess works. And now after knight d, bishop d, knight d, we have got all kinds of filth incoming. Queen is hanging. Knight c7 is pending. It's a royal mess. With something like this. Absolutely incalculable garbage or red hot mess. Call it whatever. Thank you for the follows, guys. Yeah, that was the way to go. Lalich instead opted for bishop b6, which was a super cheeky attempt to trap the queen. Or at least to send a message that, oi buddy, lady is lacking squares. The lady is running out of oxygen. It's like a 50 Shades of Grey chess version. Okay, h5. Wild Soggy Dress, thank you so much. I don't know why my chess command doesn't work, by the way. I'm a bit concerned now. Anyway. h5. What a move. Can you believe this? Like, just when we discussed that black needs to catch up in development and do something really productive, they uncork this. It doesn't look like my bot is functional yet. Yeah. Exactly. Sprine's very good. So the idea is to activate the rook because this bishop is not going to come out anytime soon. So it's better to bring the rook across like this and conveniently it hits the bishop. Yes, it is on Twitch as well. Okay, let's go. Rook takes d5 because they know the Feingold rule as well. And black he played some sexy chess. That is the Ondrash rule, by the way. That's my rule. So the Feingold rule is the always sack the exchange. When you did that, then you can, when you graduated from there, then comes the next rule. Renga already knows it, although we never called it as such, but he knows the move and he knows the rule. Exactly, Abdullah said. You are very, very much on point. Imbalanced games are really, really a great tool to practice calculation, chess understanding, yada, yada, yada. The idea of bishop b6 was to cut out the retreat of the queen. No, you can no longer play rook h6 here because rook b5 wins the house. That was the whole point of this operation by white by taking here. And by the way, now taking is even worse for white because I can no longer come back here. I have to go to a4, and now after the check, this is the other point. Bishop is already on b6, so I can't go to d8, and if I go to e7, then maybe queen e3 with checkmate ideas can be very, very, very hurtful. Ouch! So there is one question that remains. What do we do? Bishop c6 is the passive way to play. It's not bad. It is doable. But after rook d1, now white seems to have got everything he wanted, and black is still all over the shop with their pieces. No, the rule, friends, the rule that you need to learn as an upgrade, or not an upgrade, but rather the next level from the Feingold rule, is the Thoth rule, which is that if you are not sacking your queen, you are not playing chess. So, sack the queen. Ilya Novalis, you are my hero. And now after the queen sack, we are back to 0-0 territory, by the way. Takes. Completely forced variation. Knight takes. Now I'm lying if I say knight takes is forced. In fact, queen e4 would have been best move here. But Lalich took on d5, and we took back with the bishop. And this is a very good time to take stock and reflect on what happened. With the queen sack, we completely eliminated white's attack. The initiative is fully gone. It's gone ski. Like, white is never gonna win this game by just, you know, storming the barricades and winning with a brutal onslaught. Now this has to be a grind for white if they want to win. On the other hand, black has got really easy chess moves to play. A lot of them. Rook up, rook across, knight c6, bishop a3. And it's super easy to see that now the black army synergizes really, really well, and the white one is all over the shop. Very, very nice. Even though it is still playable for white, but it is a difficult challenge to stay on top of all the threats. And once again, like, the next 5 moves could be played with a 1600 for black, and they wouldn't mess it up. Right? Because you pull back, you play knight c6, and you play b4. Like, all of these are super kindergarten moves. No difficulty whatsoever. This is why I always say, by the way, that your only chance to defeat, or not the only, but the best chance to defeat a much higher rated opponent than you is through aggressive, attacking, tactical, sharp chess. Because in that scenario, a lot of things can happen. In a dry, positional, solid position, it's far less likely that an inferior player can outplay a superior one. But when the fireworks begin, it's easy to misstep. f5 played, we take c3, and we go in. For the record, there was nothing wrong with taking f5. Totally playable. Take, bishop b4, subsequent castles, and white is under a lot of pressure. Very unpleasant position. Very unpleasant. But Halifman went here for the throat right away. And he just, yeah, went beast mode. I mean, according to the engine, the only playable move for white here is queen a1. Savage Muffin, best of luck to you, buddy. Don't overthink it. Don't get super nervous. This is your hobby. Enjoy it. Don't treat it like a race. So yeah, queen b2 was not good enough. Tempo. And now I need the chat to tell me some nice concluding moves. Oh, 4 out of 5. Well, clearly you didn't spend too much time overthinking and getting too nervous. Well done. Shout out to you, man. I'm proud of you. That's how we do it. So what do we do now, ladies? I need a move. Very, very, very good idea, folks. So take. Now, however, check is bad. Because after king here, knight here, we can just keep on taking on c3. g6 is a very interesting idea. But at its current form, not good enough. And the punishment for this move, by the way, just so that you appreciate a little bit about the depth of Grandmaster chess. And I'm gonna flip the board for this because you need to see this. It's absolutely insane. e6. And you go like, what? So let me shed some light on this for you. So obviously DC loses to queen c6, no problems. Fe loses to rook takes f8, eliminating the bishop that wanted to check us. Yeah. And then we are fine. Finally, the two checks. If bishop check, king b1, rook b2, we take, and all of a sudden, the white pieces are gaining again sufficient activity in order to not only equalize, but in fact, according to the engine, white is even slightly better here. That's crazy. Bishop b5 pin, and there will be problems with this knight very soon. Exactly, two bishops on the open board. What else? This is such a good timing from Ben for this raid. Likewise, if you go via a3, same story is gonna go down. Now you can even get a queen, by the way, but obviously this is looking like black is playing with fire, so do not recommend. Or you can check my queen down, and we are going to enter a very similar scenario to the previous one. Yeah, hello e6. So no, it wasn't g6, but we definitely need to go after the white king, so that is on the right track. How can we set up a mate threat? Exactly, knight b4 is our move, ladies. And now we have a mate in one threat. And it's borderline impossible to stop. As a matter of fact, the only way to stop the mate... Well, there are a few. So if bishop d3, you go check here. And that's over. Yeah, not much else is available, is there? They played queen a5 in the game. And here, Halifman went full-on nasty. And played a very cheeky move. What did the mad lad do? What did the mad lad do? Come on, chat, we've got this. c2 is not sadistic enough. No. It is better than that. Bishop c5 is quite sadistic. But here I'm afraid I can take and pick off the pawn. So we need to be careful. You are right about the bishop, but it's not the right way to deploy it. Random 12-hand guy is coming in strong. G6. And this is the move that triggered resignation, because now we are threatening about 4,000 things. So the main one is actually made. Or getting a queen if the king goes this way. Plus the queen is still hanging. Plus the rook is still hanging. Yeah, G6 is just absolutely terminal. And white resigned. I like. Say what you want, but I like this game a lot. All right. The next one is going to be a little bit cleaner in terms of appearance and strategy and all that jazz. And as such, probably easier to follow and understand. This time around, we yeah, exactly, Abdel Bassett. This is definitely some wild stuff. So this time around, we are behind the white pieces, and we are going to play the Spielman Indian, or rather this early Benoni, which is definitely not good. What is the best move here for white, guys? Best move for white. Bishop g5 is best against b5, but not against g6. Oh, Herbert in the house. Aus Deutschland. My friend, what the hell are you doing awake at this hour? Knight c3, folks. Don't play c4. c4 allows black to transpose back into the Benoni. But you don't have to and need to do that. By playing knight c3 and omitting c4, we are going to have actually access to the c4 square with this knight, which is going to be a beautiful outpost. Right? So check this out. e4, d6 is forced, and bishop e2 is played. Bishop b5 check is also a very commonly played move here. The idea is to lure the bishop to d7, then you play a4, and when they castle, then you pull the knight back here. And now if they take, you take with the a, and otherwise you pull the bishop back and you play knight c4 and the bishop is dumped. Ah, thank you, Abdel Bassett. Cheers, buddy. Anyway, so he just went bishop e2. Castles, castles. Knight a6. The reason why they put the knight on a6 is because they want to drop it back to c7 and then try to build up for a b5 push. As you can see, it's going to be pushed back spectacularly. Bishop f4. The idea is to support e5. Knight c7. Now we can't go e5 because in the end this would hang. a4. That is a very, very early prophylaxis against the b5 push. b6. So black is gearing up very slowly. b6, a6, rook here, bishop here if need be, and ultimately b5, b4, trying to gain space on the queen side. And we definitely need to say, no, that's not happening. e6 can be a way to play, but bishop f4 took the sting out of that, because then take d6 hangs. Generally speaking, in the c4 less positions, carrying out e6 is a lot more complicated and difficult than in the regular Benonis. So usually the knight a6, knight c7 plan does not involve e6. Rook e1. Beautiful developing moves, by the way, by white across the board. a6. h3. Now this is to take the sting out of any bishop g4 or knight g4 and also knight h5, so that now we can pull the bishop back all the way. Knight d7. Now this is weird, but there is a problem here for black that is difficult to solve. So the logic suggests, and this is, by the way, a beautiful insight into positional chess for you on grandmaster level. So black has played this, we know that the plan was b5. Then they played a6, b6, we know the plan is b5. There are now two obvious moves for black, both of them supporting b5. One of them is bishop d7, and the other one is rook b8. And both of them are bad, or at least they can be met by a very powerful white move. I wonder if you guys can spot what Halifman wanted to do against rook b8 and what he wanted to do against bishop d7. $4 a.m. in Kenya. Wow, you guys are very dedicated. This one is Halifman against... I forgot. Ermenkov. Bulgarian Grandmaster. Right, so here is the deal. I told you earlier that we couldn't play e5 because after take, whatever takes back, we lose d5. That doesn't stand anymore after rook b8, because if I play e5 and they take, I can in fact take back with Ida. Bishop take would pin the knight, but knight e5 is the better one, creating the threat of a fork. And all of a sudden, after bishop b7, knight c6, pawn takes, the position has opened up for the bishops. And the c6 pawn is incredibly difficult to regain. White is winning. If instead they play bishop d7, again black is shooting himself in the foot, because after e5 takes, now the pawn is not capturable. Because the bishop on d7 is interposing with the vision of the queen. That queen. And so all of a sudden, black is stuck. Granted, they can try bishop d7, e5, knight e8, but here white's attack is now getting out of control. Knight e4, queen d2, and b5 is no longer a meaningful threat because my knight has already abandoned c3, centralized, and we have got much better means of covering the pawns in the center. So b5 is not gonna be able to undermine my center from the side. Ermenkov played here knight d7, therefore, to try to control the e5 break. Now, white's best, according to the machine here, would have been just simply queen d2, go for the bishop trade with a subsequent kingside attack rather. Knight h5, f5 is suicidal, in my opinion, here. In fact, everywhere. Yeah, you play knight h5, a drop back f5. It looks like you're playing to lose here. I don't even know what you propose to take this back with. I mean, bishop takes is not playable because of g4. So you have to take with the pawn. And then after knight g5, knight f6, bishop wherever. Yeah, you just... It gave me 4 more targets. It's natural to want to break out with something, but it just doesn't work. Halifan played something very interesting. They played bishop c4. Who can tell me the idea behind this? Assuming black plays rook b8. So bishop c4, rook b8. What do we do? e5 is less precise now, interestingly, because after the mass of trades, finally, I get to play b5. And in fact, now black is better. Because now the queenside pawns begin to roll, queen d6 will kick the rook, the d5 pawn will be under fire, it's not good at all. The correct answer, as per Dandaro, is queen d3. You do not want to put it on e2 because it interposes, or rather interferes with the rook on the e file. So yeah, you want to put it on d3, not on e2. Because with queen e2, we are hindering the e5 push. Because in the end, you will have to take with the queen. Whereas now the queen is doing its job to control b5. And after e5, you can still retake with the rook. It's a better distribution of the army than with queen on e2. Or maybe it's a better way to put it that there is a better synergy amongst the pieces if you lay them out like this. Okay, black played f6. This is when you know that your opponent is in serious trouble. f6 is a move that we describe on this channel as butt ugly, but black had very, very limited choices to come up with anything better. Because now e5 was a genuine threat. I mean, it says a lot about the position that the engine's favorite move is bishop h8, which also falls under the category of butt ugly. Okay, what do we do? Because it's easy to call a move butt ugly, but we don't need to defeat it. And although black's position is definitely super butt ugly, it's quite difficult to crack. Indeed, quite difficult to crack. Hello, Colin Lee. Welcome in. You are at the right place at the right time. Isn't e5 just blundering a pawn? I don't understand the concept of e5. And when you say things like e5 because fe kills the dark squared bishop, like how can you kill it more than what it is now? I can't possibly see a scenario where this bishop is more dead than right now. Yeah, this is just a blunder. Okay, just take, and now you have got the same position as before, except you're down a pawn. And the e4 square is not a good enough justification in my book for all of this. I can just kick you out. Yeah, no, don't do it. It's way too reckless, way too little gain, if any. Knight h2. I also don't understand that move. I'm also struggling with knight e5 there. Yeah, it is interesting, by the way, that we are looking at a plus 1.1 position, and it's so easy to completely mess this up by reckless play, or play that is just not goal driven enough. Or even if it's goal driven, if you have the wrong goal, then obviously that's no bueno. I'm curious who is going to hit the nail on the head first. H4 is okay, I suppose. I don't mind that move, but yeah, again, my main worry would be 95. But H4 is so far probably the best recommendation. G4 is definitely not on. It's way too reckless again. And after 95 now, I'm not sure if we are better anymore or not. Because the F-file is going to be now a beautiful attacking ground for black. Like G4 just sticks out like a sore thumb. Don't do that. You see, I just told you that we are playing so many reckless moves, and when I told you that that's what we're doing here, you continue to double down on even more reckless moves. F5. How do you play F5? I don't understand what you're saying, Seb. Could you define reckless? Yeah, like randomly shoving a pawn forward in front of your king with zero benefits whatsoever. Reckless. Sacking a pawn in the middle of the center, zero benefits. Reckless. Queen d2 would allow b5, so that's no good at all. Having said that, the idea of moving the queen is not bad at all. The engine's recommendation as far as queen moves are concerned, the queen e2 and queen f1. Both of them with the intention of stepping out of this tempo. But 95 doesn't worry us right here, guys. This is not a problem. Right? I want you to be aware of this. Now, after knight d2, I would say that I'm worried about this because I want to take this with the knight. So you do need the knight on f3 to keep the statement that knight e5 is not a worry true. I'm fascinated by the fact that no one even guessed the idea here, which, by the way, is stock standard. It is a stock standard break in this position. This type of structure, it happens all the time. Exactly. Ilya Novalis finally cracked the code. Rook b1, b4. That's it. And that way you are activating your final piece that wasn't playing and you finally initiate the opening up of the position, which is going to bring the game to, I don't know how to finish this sentence, to a stage where our better developed pieces will shine. Because currently the reason why it doesn't feel that we're totally winning is because even though our development is vastly superior, the position is completely clogged up. True, but that is a very one-sided way of evaluating things, Swindlex, because if we just go like, but now we lost the c5 square. Yes, and what about the d4 square for white? What about the b file with the b6 weakness? You can't just go and single out one characteristic of the trade. You need to look upon all the meaningful changes, add them together, and see who comes out on top. So yes, you are right. There's a beautiful outpost here, but there's an even more beautiful outpost on d4. Hello. And rook b1, now b6 is no longer guarded. That is the full picture. And usually people evaluate this as, I can't play b4 because I lose the c5 square. I can't do that. Not true. You can and you should. Yeah, it's typically one of those things that people consider and then just immediately dispatch on account of, can't do. Yes, you can and you should. Absolutely. 95 played. Knight takes, not bishop. Bishop back to e3. Now the b4 thrust is going to be even more deadly because the bishop is supporting us on the diagonal. Bishop d7. This is a desperate attempt, but a very, very clever one. Does anyone understand the idea behind bishop d7, which seemingly blunders the pawn on a6 for nothing? What's going on here? Freya, this is indeed a difficult concept, so it's good that we are here and we are learning it. Abdel Bassett is on the money. So the idea behind this very cheeky move is to give up the pawn and then play b5 to give up a second pawn and then go for a perpetual attack on the queen. So my question to you, but this is really, really tough. Like seriously very tough. Like this is where we are entering the level of 2300 or at least 2200 FIDE and higher. What do we do? Do we take or do we have an alternative that makes white's position still much, much better? If b4, then b5. a5, b5, and we are worse. I don't know. If you want to go b4, you really need to give me a line with b5, guys, because it looks losing, more or less losing. But at least very unpleasant. So if your call is b4, you better give me a super convincing line against b5. Turn up the mic. Guys, do we have mic problems? Or not really? It looks like we do have a bit of mic problem. I'll turn it up. Okay, we should be good now. Queen d2 I don't like again because of b5, right? Queen d2, b5. I mean, take, maybe bishop f1, but after b4 we are losing a lot of territory. I did tell you as much, Sepches, that this is where positional decision making is no longer relevant. If you cannot calculate here the correct line, then that's it. You're not going to make the right decision. And this is why I keep on telling this all the time, and I always come back to this, that there is no such chess as positional chess or tactical chess, like I'm one or the other. Because if you are playing against proper opposition, you will need both skills to excel. Already to get here, we needed both skills. And now, despite the fact that 90% of our play was based on positional considerations, now you need to calculate your guts out. Well, tactics, I don't know. You tell me. You tell me, brother. That is the right line of inquiry, by the way. Hello, strongman. Welcome in. Alright, I'm going to reveal to you guys the tricks, but you might want to take a screenshot of this and see if you can use this as a calculating exercise. So there are two ways for white here to stay on top. I show you first the one that wasn't played. That is quite crazy. Herbert, you are on the money, buddy. b4, b5, take, and b takes c, or bishop b5 first. Sorry, knight b5 first, actually. This is the best way to go. Bishop b5, and then take this. Take. And if you can evaluate this correctly, and by correctly I mean white is winning, hats off to you. Because even as I'm looking at it now, I'm like, what? And apparently, according to the engine after c6, white is winning here. The plan is rook b7, bring the other rook, kill. It's a positional piece sacrifice. Like after queen c8, according to the engine, the best move is queen e2. Like this is absolutely 21st century engine chess play. No one, in my opinion, would really seriously consider this. And now the idea is c5, c4. I know, Anon, who you are. Thank you. Too kind. Yeah, just enjoy the pawns and enjoy the two most useless chess pieces in history. That's it. Also, after queen e2, you can do something like c4, queen c2, trade, rook b1, rook b7. And the rook on b7 is a beast. But this is absolutely crazy, City. Like, if you tell me that you calculated all of this from this position with b4, which you needed to do in order to enter that, I would be like, you are either 2700 or you are full of poo. That's it. The calculable one, which your good friend in the chat, Herbert TV, did calculate, is that, is my queen really getting trapped? And the answer is yes, but who cares? And that's where the Toth rule comes into the play, which is that if you don't sack your queen, you're not playing chess. So, first and foremost, after knight b5, rook a8 is a blunder, because now the queen in fact escapes. And although black regains one pawn, but that's not good enough. Just play b3 and yeah, white is just completely winning. The real challenge is that, but hang on, what if they take and then rook a8? Now you cannot dodge the attack. And many people would give up calculating this line on account of perpetual attack, it's a draw. Whereas the reality is that after queen c6, rook c8, pretty much any move is winning for white here that doesn't move the queen. Most notably rook a1. He played b4, it was not as accurate. Rook a1 is best. And again, after rook takes, pawn takes, you don't need a more dead bishop than what it already is. And the two pawns are just triumphant. You can't stop them. Thank you for the dono again, Ainan. That's it. It's all over Red Rover. Nothing you can do. I'm just gonna come in. Chess lover, hey, hey, hey. Rook is gonna come in. b6 is... Once I play b6, the pawns are promoting, right? The engine's main line is king f7, rook a6, queen c7, rook e1, rook b8, rook a7, and we're close to resignation here after c4. I'm gonna double up on the 7 and I'm gonna torture you to death. It's about +4 already. He played b4, which made it for a very entertaining idea. Yeah, that is essentially the same story, Herbert. Same story. Even this wins. But b4 was an unnecessary complication. Who is this guy? International Master András Tóth. At your service. I already told you that it was Halifman, just a measly world champion. e6, rook d1, debatable. I would have taken queen b8, take. Sorry, if takes, then obviously I can go b6 or taken b6, doesn't matter. And the game is over. So they played d5, trying to activate the bishop. I actually like that idea, but of course it's not good enough. Because, yeah, it's too late. Once again, welcome to +5. Where should we move the rook now, guys? Which rook move is the one that kills black the fastest? My favorite Ivanchuk game, I don't know, too many to mention. It's Tod, like close to the German word dead. Yeah, the best rook move is pawn b6. If you wanted to play a rook move, then you fell for my tricky questioning. Exactly. Those who attend my streams, they know immediately that if I say which rook move it is, then you definitely know that it's not a rook move. No, should it be a rook move, by the way, because any rook move loses c7, so why would you do that? Pawn on c7 is a much greater value than the rook. So we go b6 takes, and after b7, black resigned. What did we think? Am I a rock star? Or is Halifman a rock star? Or we are both rock stars? That was next level. Yes. That is what you get on this stream, ladies. That is what you get when you come to this stream. And the same for the YouTube channel. Once again, shout out to I Prefer Veggies. You can be a rook star, yeah. Pretty much it is the don't stop calculating too soon textbook 101. But I think this game was a beautiful presentation of many positional concepts that we would like to know. All right, do we want one more? You guys give me 50,000 more YouTube subs, I give you one more game. How is that for a deal? Yes, as in yes, the 50,000 YouTube subs are incoming. Okay. Okay, I'm game. Why would you panic though? Like, first of all, no, I completely disagree. You wouldn't panic because you only enter this line with the intent of sacking the queen. Sacking the queen is an adrenaline boost. You don't panic when you're sacking the queen, right? That's ridiculous. That's the direct opposite emotional surge that you experience when you sack a queen. That's excitement. That's fun. That's blood thrusting and pumping in you. But if you don't trust it, you don't play it. Like, what? I don't follow. You never play a line you don't trust. Why would you do that? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, the actual emotional feelings would be the polar opposite of what you're describing. You are entering this position that is right now on the board with an enormous boost of fun, joy, enjoyment, and the potential idea of creating the game of your life. It's the exact same as you go to a bar, you single out by far the hottest chick, right? Like 50 points out of your league on a scale of 0 to 10, right? You rock up to her, you ask her out, she says yes. If at this point, after yes, you have anything but positive emotions, what are you even doing, bro? That's the exact same here. You sack the queen and you go like, oh man, this is gonna be a hell of a game. Absolutely, it is gonna be in every single newspaper, and Egan Mater is gonna put it on the front cover too. That's it. There's absolutely zero chance that you go into this queen sack and you go like, oh, I'm scared. Like, then you wouldn't do it if you were scared. Not a chance. Anyway, on to the next. Would you recommend openings? I don't understand your question. Nice analogy. Thank you, Courtney. I always go to ladies for analogies because they are the best teachers. Yeah, Chess Lover, I appreciate that. Having said that, in that case, I need to remind you, well, it's not a reminder, but just politely ask you that if you then don't watch my videos with these accounts, then we might be actually ruining the algorithm for me rather than supporting it. So if you could do me now another solid, watch a fair few of my videos with those accounts. Just put them on the background and let them play on mute. If you were a woman, you would be the biggest chess streamer in the world. I think so. I do think so, actually. I really do think so. Even better would be Chess Lover if you created some standardized comment and you added that to videos on with those accounts too. But if we say that, of course, we would be all kinds of sexist and politically incorrect and all that kind of rubbish. So we are not saying that, of course. All right, let's go. What is this opening called again? Who can give me a quick reminder? We were all joking, right? But the best jokes are the ones that are true. Dude, it's almost impossible to reach 2000 rating without knowing some openings. It is one of the dumbest concept that I see circulating out there is that you don't need to learn openings. It's totally stupid. It's the same level of garbage like don't eat breakfast. Like, why ever not? Why ever not? Like, your body hasn't been fed and nutrition for 10 hours. You do need to learn openings because with openings you learn opening principles, which is the very foundation of every chess game. Anyway, it is the Ragazine, which can transpose into Nimzo. Why does white take on d5? That's a very good question. So if you play bishop g5, then black can turn it back into the Vienna. At which point usually 98% of the Levy fanboys come at me with, but the Vienna is an e4 opening. Yeah, there's a bit more to chess than putting a pawn on e4 and then putting a knight on c3 and then be happy. This is also called the Vienna. And after e4, c5, once again, it is the Vienna. The pawn capture on d5 avoids this altogether. And now it is just a pure Ragazine. Why don't we like the Vienna? I didn't say that we don't like, but if you prefer it, it's a matter of preference. It's not an objectively good or bad call. Yes, Herbert. I mean, objectively, yeah, it is just another move that leads to similar evaluations. Yeah, they are the coaches who shouldn't be chess coaches to tell you that openings are not important. Because they are. It's, every single time you play a game of chess, you are going to play an opening. You may play middle games. Very likely you will play middle games, and you may or may not play end games. But percentage-wise, the only section of a game that you are going to have in 100% of your games is opening. Let's not study that. Sounds like a smart piece of advice to me, right? And again, studying openings doesn't mean that you are brain deadly memorizing lines that you don't understand. That I also disapprove of. But who told you that there is only a stupid way to study openings? Exactly, like a proper opening study by definition involves studying middle games. Let me show you an example. This is one of my favorites, and it kills me when people talk this utter stupid garbage. Don't study openings, right? Well, let me show you something. Just let's say you study a little bit of the Alpine Sicilian, right? And so you just look at what concepts are we following here with white. Control the center, develop pieces, yeah, develop pieces, castle your king. If you look at this variation from white's perspective, right? I didn't learn a line here where I memorized 12 moves. I learned the importance of control the center. I learned the importance of piece development, king safety, and now we can continue this opening study from here, where we are discussing a very important, in fact, one of the most important pawn structures, the IQP. And so now we can go into the deeper strategy that we try to avoid piece trades. We're trying to generate some kind of kingside attack, for example, by utilizing the idea of, and I'm just going to play a few mumbo jumbo moves, building up a battery against the king, putting the bishop out here, often centralizing the knight, yada yada yada. So now from but let's just say that analyzing or discussing an opening, we learned an awful lot of opening strategy, obviously not in this 30-second segment, but explained in detail. We now are analyzing a subsequent middle game, and we are also dealing with one of the most commonly occurring pawn structures. How do you do this if you don't start with the opening? You can't start a chess game here and you go like, don't worry about openings. Just you start from here. Yeah, no. That's not how chess works. You cannot get to meaningful middle games like this without knowing at least a little bit of openings. Right? So when coaches tell you, you don't need openings. Yes, you do. Because that's what every chess game starts with. Funny that. Yeah. And with this, we also can dispatch the absolute garbage concept of IQP is bad for you. Right. Back to the game. Sorry, my friend was asking me something here about Peerts and King's Indian. Well, if you do that always, that's a bit of a concern for me, Chess Josh, but I guess whatever works, works. Thank you, Courtney. In Australia, we have a completely different date for Father's Day, but I will take it. Right, let's move on. Hey, takes bishop back, g5, knight e4. It's a very, very sharp and aggressive line. And here white has a super sexy pawn sacrifice available. I wonder if you guys can figure out the move that sufficiently sacks the pawn but doesn't lose the game for white here. What is that move? Yeah, well, you are narrowing down your chess life, Josh, to an incredibly small percentage of openings and structures. The upside of that is that you are going to understand those really well. The downside of that is that I would die of boredom after like 2 days. Because what you're doing now is the equivalent of you want to be enjoying painting and you're going to master the color green. And so everything you paint is different shades of green. And as far as green is concerned, you are a total boss of it. But you just say no to any other colors on the palette. What do you call that thing that holds the paint? And I wouldn't do that, but it's up to you, man. Yeah, palette. I just mispronounced it, but I said I knew the correct word. Yeah. Yeah, palate. Okay, but I pronounce it like the palate, which is part of your mouth, right? So I know English, I just can't speak it. The what would you do is my question. Palais. Oh, okay, so the T is silent. Palais. Thank you. Yeah, French, I thought so. Well, it's the same as filet, right? Like in Australia, people can't for the life of them pronounce filet without pronouncing the T. And as soon as they T, I just go like, oh, like they say fillet. And I'm like, what? Fillet. Well, okay, there is a debate now. Let's see. Nothing like my favorite segment of the stream when we pronounce shit.
Palette.
Oh, it's actually palette. So you are full of shit and Herbert is correct. Yeah, it's palette. Okay.
Palette.
Palette. Alright, so with that out of the way, we know that 92 is the pawn sack. And the reason why we play 92 is that so that after take, bishop takes, this is not a check. And now after rook c1, white gains a lot of traction here. Now c7 is hanging if the bishop moves. Bishop d4 is really bad because of check. And hello bishop. And so bishop a5 is forced, more or less. And here after e3, bishop d3 castles, white gains a lot of love. Note that queen a4 check is actually not that great here because of c6. Don't forget this. That doesn't work. But after e3, c6, bishop d3, it's very easy to see that white has a lot of traction here. With queen h5 potentially coming, e4 break coming, we just rip them apart. So after 92, the game continued actually take, back. Oh, by the way, I'm pretty sure that you guys will ask the players, so I will tell you that. This is Halefman against Serper. h4. e3 is the machine's favorite, but h4 is also very, very annoying. Take and rook is hanging, and if they take, then the pawns are split. g4, e3. Knight c6, bishop b5. Knight on c6 is always really, really weird. Because now it... Basically what it means is we can't play c6, which in turn means that the bishop is out of this game forever. I really strongly dislike knight c6 for black here. I would play c6 100% every day of the week. And then bring the knight here and trade this bishop off here. I think this is butt ugly. Yeah, actually black is already almost losing here. Yeah, knight c6, I reckon, was completely unplayable. And by the way, just to clarify one thing as far as opening theory is concerned, while 94 is fine here, after 92 is definitely take here. Take, and then c6, and the bishop goes back here. And this is totally playable for black. Likewise, I thought that c5 was a move here, which is also theoretical. Just a side note. Anyway, back to the game. Rook c5. What would you do for white here, guys? And what is the point of queen e7? These are my two questions. You can see a dark position with a bishop pair, or rather a dark position with a dark squared bishop. Yeah, d5 is hanging for sure. But of course black knew that. So what is the point of queen e7? Knight e4. I suppose that, yes, that could be on the cards. Mazitor, thank you. But I mean, obviously, you need to calculate or reckon with rook d5, yeah? So, what are you doing against rook d5? You can share a game, buddy, but I'm not sure if I will have the time to go through it. And in general, like, is it your own or what's the go? The point is that black is drunk. No, it's actually quite a cheeky idea. So after rook d5, they want to do what? Yeah, queen b4 was the plan. Now, it's debatable how effective it is, but finally black is creating some threats and trouble for white. Yeah, it was all about white, doing the attack and the threats and the initiative, and now this is shifting a little bit. Knight d4 was a very good joke, but d7 and d4 are both hanging, so let's not go there. Yeah, it is at least something. And typically, when you are ahead, you do not want to give those counter chances. And so the no-brainer move from here on out for white is obviously castles, because that resolves both of black's intended moves. No worries. Bishop b4 was played. This is to kick the rook, but also to relocate the bishop. Rook d5. And for most intents and purposes, the game is over. But let's have a look at the finish. Here, Alifman played something that is crazy good. And I think that 9 out of 10 players who are not grandmasters wouldn't play it. And it's not rook d6 before you ask, although rook d6 is winning. So if you wanted to play here rook d6, shout out to you. That's what I would play here. Yeah, rook d6 is the move that I think most chess players would play. Why not bishop takes c6? Because why would I play bishop takes c6? The question about bishop takes c6 is that why would you even consider that? Yeah, so rook d6 pawn takes knight c4 and it is Carnage City, yeah? It's just over. The alternative is to take with the bishop, then play knight c4, and it's still over. Neither of these two were played. What this mad lad did is something that I find very difficult to justify with a practical hat on. At any point, bishop c6 doesn't make any sense to me, Ayushman. It doesn't matter when you want to play it. Oh, you... Wait. He wanted to play it here. I just take d2. Check. So that's why. It makes sense, but it's a blunder. He played knight c4. Knight c4. Which is super weird, because now it allows bishop takes, pawn takes, which by the way makes this quite weak. And for the first time, we don't have an apparent threat either for white. And yet this is the best move in the position and in fact favored by the engine. It's like, what the hell? And you only realize how strong it is when you start looking for black moves here. But even seeing this and even seeing the engine's eval, I don't like it. I would never play like this. I would definitely have captured rook d6. For example, according to the engine after bishop e6, white's best is take, rook c5. And I'm like, why am I preferring this mess over the rook d6 line, which was crystal clear? It's very weird, but this is +4 according to the engine. Take, king h2, and the black king has nowhere safe to go. Like, once you see it, it's hard to argue with it now. But boy, can you see this far when you don't have to? From this position, like, do you really play knight c4 and calculate it all the way down to where I just went? Not a chance. And now the attack on the king is gonna be mad. Right, let's go. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you, Herbert. 100%. 100%. Maybe one day. That's exactly it. Alright. Now we are getting to the attacking phase where the beautiful finale is to come. Your turn. Let's finish the biz. By the way, Chess John, you sent me a game that is like 4 moves, so I probably should not want to analyze this anyway, right? So those analysis ideas are generally for people who seek improvement advice, but you sent me a game that is 9 moves, so I figured that that's not what you want. Yeah, right, so bring all the boys to the party is a no-brainer. And the pressure, I mean, dude, we are attacking with 5 pieces. All of them. If you put Stockfish, Lila Chess, and Garry Kasparov and put them on a 3-time multiplier, you're still gonna lose. It is just not bearable. Alright. You have seen it in Woodpecker. Good. Believe it or not, it's made in 5 from here, according to the Mighty Machine, and that is exactly how the game ended. Type a number 1 in the chat if you can calculate it. Mr. Morrison, welcome in. Don't type moves, please. Especially not bad ones. Wink, wink. I want mate. And I want your number 1. Type a number 1 in if you have the mate. Ayushman, what happened, my friend, with the checks? And what happened, guy with no skills, with the do not type in the moves, but type number 1? Ayushman, checks, my friend. Checks, captures, and threats. That's the order. This is not a check. Therefore, it should never be your first candidate when you are looking for a kill. Not a chance. It wins, but it doesn't mate. And that counts already as a failure. Because it's featured in many, many puzzle books. That's why you saw it before. Alright, who typed the first one in? Let me see. It was Chess Josh. Chess Josh, can you type in the full solution, buddy? Ari, that line is bleeding out on multiple accounts, but in particular when you play Queen C6 check and you sacrifice your queen, it's not exactly pretty. Right, so the solution is this. Check, 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 and then non-check. But mate. Good stuff, right? Good stuff. I'm never seeing... What do you mean you're never seeing that? Dude, this is a 1700 rated puzzle at best. I always am baffled when people say I can't calculate this. This is the easiest calculation in chess. One straight line, no side variations, and it's all checks except for the last move, which is a mate in one thread. Chess calculation doesn't come easier than this. Take, 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 check has to go there, and mate is unstoppable unless they take when you take. I refuse to believe flatly that you can't calculate this. I absolutely and wholeheartedly refuse to believe that you cannot figure this out. No, I'm not accepting that. If you say that you can't see this, I am going to be pushing you to, have you tried? Where did you lose it? I guarantee you that if we are in a coaching session, I will make you figure this out. 100% guarantee you. Because you will get, without my help, until rook check, king takes, rook check, king takes, queen check, king c8. And you get stuck here because neither checks work. Well, if you didn't consider rook b7, I don't know how you are 1700, given that I announced it's made in 5, and so you immediately switch into checks, captures, threats mode, and this is the only check that is a capture. So if this is not the first move you look at, I'm like, have you ever had a chess coach or a chess lesson, or have you ever studied chess books? And I don't mean it in a abusive way. I'm meaning it hello, wakey wakey way. I think where most people would fail with this is that they calculate rook takes, king takes, rook takes, king takes, queen check, king back, and they would think that this is mate. Sorry, bishop, that was a bit uncalled for, but you get my point. Like, if you don't start with rook b7, it means that we missed out on the very first lesson of tactics, right? It doesn't matter what mate number you are working with. If your first check that you are looking at, sorry, the first move is not a check, you are already doing it wrong. This is why I keep on telling people that they... That's why I keep on telling people that if they want to increase their ability to calculate and visualize, solving forcing checkmate sequences is the best way to go. I'm very reluctant to say it out loud, but there is a certain website that also has a lot of mate puzzles, wink wink, which I prefer to what I'm showing you now. But if we go custom puzzles, and I think I'm set on mating 3 and plus, let me check the cut is correct. So there's no way that you solve these without having the rhythm of checks, captures, threats ingrained, right? So check, king he, check, king he, check, and then rook e1 mate. I'm always looking at the checking moves first, right? If check, king here, rook check. If king here, knight check is mate. If king d3, then knight b4 is mate. And I'm done. Check, check, and we're done. King goes here, and knight mate here. Next. And you always religiously start with checks. All the time, every time. Rook check, check, king here, knight mate. I'm literally solving it here, right? I have nothing on the screen. I'm just using my chess skills. What was the first move I looked at as a solution? The check that is a capture too. I had f4 too, and I didn't speak it, but I quickly calculated that after f4, king d3, the rook check doesn't work because the king can take. So I have to start check, take, f4, here. And I'm not saying that this is easy. It is hard. But the method that I'm using is a must. Right? And this is why I'm saying bishop stars, that you not looking at rook b7 in that position is a cardinal sin. Because that betrays that before we could even work on how accurate and precise your calculation is, the method of it already failed before we even started, right? So we go checks, and checks. But once again, I'm not hammering you for being bad at it. What I'm saying is that the method with which you approach it is completely lacking. Right? So we don't know if you are terrible or great. You could be actually great at it. But we need to fix your approach and calculating technique first before we can conclude whether you have the skills or not. Right? This I don't know instantly. It feels like check here, check, king here. But then rook f3, g3, I don't see the mate there. Oh, wait, maybe it's check here, knight e4 check. King h3. Rook f3, ef3. Okay, rook check, king here, knight check. King here, knight f... Ooh, knight f2, king g1. King g3, rather. Knight h1, king here. Maybe it's knight e4 first to deny the king's exit. Yeah, I just made it look complicated when it's quite simple. Yeah, knight e4, take, and then check, and then mate. And this is, again, start with the check that doesn't look possible, right? So I'm getting schooled here. Check. Okay, back, then check, check, and mate, right? Okay, so this is nice. So rook check, king e2, rook back check here, king d1, rook check, rook c1, rook d2 check, king e1, rook d1 mate. Nice, nice. Oh, okay. So that was dumb. What we wanted to see was king d1. check and then check. Okay, one more. Oh, I've done this before and I don't... Yeah, this is not necessarily a good example of what I showed you, but the essence is the same. It's checking moves. Okay, so rook f3... Well, when you do it as often as I do, you become fast. So rook f3, king e4... Queen... No, wait. I've done this before. Queen f2 check looks like the move because it disallows the king to escape. King e4. Wait, what? Oh, I was gonna play queen f4 mate. Okay, so queen f2, king here. Queen f3, king here. d5, king takes is no good. Unless queen e4. King c3, no. Queen here, king here, queen. I don't want to take the queen, of course. So queen here, king here. Queen f3, king d4. Queen d5, king here. Rook check, king here, escapes. Yeah, queen f2, king here. I remember this puzzle. I've seen this and I've solved this. A6, that's an interesting proposition. I don't know what that means. That could be good. Yeah, queen c2 check and then queen d3. Let's have a look. Yep, yep. And then mate. Well done. Goodie. Goodie. The reason why I prefer to do it somewhere else, wink wink, is because there they have mate in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 plus more. Whereas here we have 1, 2, and then 3 or more. And the 3 or more often ends up being a 9-move puzzle. So to shove a mate in 3 and a mate in 9 in the same category just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. It also helps if you work toward the certain configuration. Yeah, correct. Okay. This is gonna be us for today, guys. Unfortunately, I didn't have time for more, but you got a fairly good idea of what brilliance is await if you are watching this stream. Admittedly, this is not about the looks, but about chess. I mean, obviously, I'm a stunner, but yeah. Well, yes, that is free, but you want to be here because if you are here and you have a paid account, you can actually support me by doing that. And I think that's worth it. I really do hope and believe that it's worth it. That way you get a full account and you are sending me some money. Yuzim, welcome back, welcome back. Good to know, buddy. Good to know. Alright. Gotta go, friends. Take care. I love you all. I hope you enjoyed it. I think it was bloody good. And I will be back with more probably on Tuesday. Yeah, definitely back on Tuesday. Your Monday night. Yeah, it never hurts, Herbert, if you go back to your old games and you reflect on what a much better player you have become. Yeah, Yuzim, watch the vid on YouTube, buddy. It was a brilliant stream with 2 absolute banger games, 3 even from Halifman, so you definitely want to stay for that. Alright, love you all. Bye.